Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Micks Mowers. I've got my little Riley boy here today. It's a weekend and we're going to be getting on and getting down and dirty with this Hayter Hayterette. I would like to try and get it finished today if I can. I've got a few little bits to do and I'm waiting on one part to come in. It's a bit cold, isn't it? Yeah, Dad's got the heating on, so we haven't long got in here. My lighting is still US. I need to get some new lights. However, I've looked on the internet and Sparky has given me a link to some LED ones that they're reasonably priced. So I've just go with this one light for now, Sparky, and when I get my next lot of money through, I should be purchasing the LED ones for that one there. So that's what it is. So the Hayter Hayterette we've got to do. I've had a parcel come through from my Amazon wish list, which is down below in the comment section. This is from David Young over in Las Vegas. It doesn't need to open it, mate. It is what it is. It says what it is. It's a WD-40 spray, 5 litres of, and I'm actually just about to run out. And as it goes, also my WD-40 sprayer here, which come when I bought the last lot, the top bit broke, so I had to get one off of Mrs. P. You can't use it, mate. Off of Mrs. P, which is the a window lean sort of thing. I don't know. I've used that, so I've got a spare bottle now. Which is cool. So I've got that. I've also got this package here. This is from a company called Spares to Go, which were off of eBay. And these are the Hayter Hayterette bolts that go for the blades, which have got like a little tiny countersunk bit on the bottom. However, they gave me 3 bolts and 4 washers. We didn't get, that's all I got, so I didn't get a full kit. So I'm a little bit peeved about that. I've got a nut here as well. So I'm missing the bolt for it, but they said they'll send it through. Much apologies. So that's that. So I can't finish the blade system until that bolt turns up. It's been shipped, but I'm still waiting on that. And this set I bought off of eBay as well. Brand new. Old stock, so these have been around for a little while, and these are the Hayter Hayterette blades. They're brand new and they're genuine Hayter, they're genuine Hayter ones, and they were, I think they were about 12 quid. So I can fit 3 out of the 4, so it's not life or death. But I'll show you how to fit those a bit later on. So that's that. Anything else coming, Riley? I don't think there is. I've got a few more bits of kit just coming, which I can talk about a bit later on. Yes, there's no oil because Daddy's got no oil in the engine, so I must remember to put oil in it. I have picked up 2 lawnmowers and a strimmer. Just the other day, I picked up a Ryobi strimmer, and I picked up a little Honda lawnmower, which actually I repaired for a bloke this season, and since then it's broke. The pull cord's broke or something. So I don't think it's actually the string. I think it's actually the mechanism. I'm not sure. But I'll look into that a bit later on, and those videos will be coming up, so that's cool. So without further ado, let's get down and dirty and let's check out this Hayter Hayterette. Right, Riley boy, let's get this in. This is the height control mechanism. And I think that goes on like so. That goes on there like so. And then we have to hook these up through those little tiny holes, which I've had to drill out. Thank you, buddy. Hammer. Oh. Little one. Mine. That one through there. Mine. Hey? My hammer. You can use it. One on the other side. I do it? Hang on, mate. No, Daddy do it because I don't want you to whack your fingers. Oh. Out through there. Now they've got to have split pins in them a bit later on. But the reason I wanted to put them on is because I want to get the couplings for these, which have been cleaned up, soaked in petrol, and all that sort of good stuff.
What's that?
This is what holds a height adjustment on. The bolts could do a bit of a clean up, to be fair, with the old metal brush. Oh, bag of bolts fall on the floor. Good.
Wait, your puzzle?
Yeah, it's the parcel that came the other day. Now, from what I believe, I'm going off of memory here, they go into there like so. Because they've got a little tiny lip on them, and that's where the back plate sits on. So that goes on there, and then you get a little back plate, which is here, and that just sits over the top of that, on there like so. These bits then go on over the top, and they secure that back plate down, like so. Ish, that's better. And then you get these bolts which go all the way through. It should line up with a bit of jiggery pokery. There's one. There's 4 of these to put on. Very simple design. They're about 13mm, and then the nuts go underneath and secure these little plastic bits on, and then that way your height control is all set up. So let me just put the nuts on, do it up, and I'll come back very shortly. Okay, so that's the height adjustment now on and done. Just need to get some split pins to go through this end here, which is no big deal. No big deal, Riley boy. I've got some split pins.
Ow.
Here somewhere. Here they are. I knew I had some.
What's that?
These are called split pins.
What is it for the room?
They're there for going in this height control to stop it from coming off. So one each side. Can you hold that one for Daddy for me?
What's that?
I'll show you what they do. So these are stainless split pins, so they shouldn't rust. But it all depends, of course, on how you dropped it. I'll get it in a minute. All depends how they're looked after. So split pin goes in, and then kick back. And what I do is I just trim the edge of that off a bit as well, just to make sure it's not too long. That one there. There, and then just turn it up so they don't come out. I'll do that one, and then I'll go on the other side and find the one that Riley's just dropped and put that split pin in. Right, next thing to do will be to put the wheels on. So pass me the wheel please, Riley. Good boy.
I'll help.
You can definitely help. And what we're going to do is we're going to tip the lawnmower. Hold it there, like 2 seconds, because they've got bearings inside them, which Daddy's getting a bit of the grease up. So. A bearing.
What bearing?
They just push on. They've got a bearing inside and a washer, and literally just going to put these big nuts on. And there's 4 to do. So me and Riley boy will get on and do these. Get these wheels all set. That's the first one. Second one, right, please, Riley. You're having a drink, are you? Good boy. Bring the camera around here so we can see you a bit more. Next wheel. Good Lord. Thank you. That's going to go in there.
Ow!
What's that?
It hurt.
Or is it you knock yourself on the old
Deal?
on the toolbox?
Yeah.
Let's get more careful. So that goes on. Now I might have made a little bit of a mistake with regards to those back bolts, and I think I've just sort of sussed it in my head. I've got 2 brackets to put on as well, which in my haste I've forgotten about. That nut doesn't want to go on there, so it might be because it's been tipped up a few times, a bit of paint on it maybe, but I'm hoping it'll go on.
Yeah.
So let me get these 4 wheels on. I'll come back, that's better. I'll come back and then I'll show you where I've gone a little bit wrong, but I've just gone a bit ahead of myself, that's all. So give us 2 ticks and I'll come back. Right, that's all 4 wheels on now. As you see, the height adjustment works. However, that's a bit I've missed. So over here somewhere, yeah, here we are, there are 2 brackets. This one will go onto this side here and clips onto there, and that does your height adjustment, and that other one goes on the other side, and that's also what gives you your handle as well. So I've got to loosen these 4 bolts off, take them off, fit these brackets onto there, one that side and one the other side, and that gives me my handles then as well. So give us 2 ticks. Let me just undo these 4 bolts at the back that I put on earlier on, and then we can then put the handles on once the brackets are fitted. Right, so now I've put these brackets back on, which is what was needed, and now this height adjustment lever, when I now bring it into play, that will now lock off where it needs to. And that now gives us the height adjustment that is required to bring the lawnmower up to where it needs to be. So that's the height adjustment now fitted. Next thing I want to do before I put the handles on is I want to flip this over and I want to show you how to put the blades on. Purely because if I put the handles on now, I might have an issue. I could possibly put this one on first, which goes on here. I could put that one on, I suppose. That wouldn't be no big deal. So I'll put that on first then, and then that might lean better. Again, I can tip the lawnmower back then onto this handle. So this is just 4 bolts, literally just goes through each bar and then inserts onto the handle, and then do those up nice and tight, and then I can tip the lawnmower back, as I say, onto its face, and then it can stand on its own. Okay, so that's that now. Top handle done, or bottom handle, sorry. Tap tap, yeah. Quick serve your coffee.
What would you eat?
I'll get some more drink in a minute. You got a bit there. If you just sip it straight. Yeah, you've got a bit in there. Happy? I'll get some more in a tick. Right, so now we can remove these tray and tools. And I want to tip the lawnmower up on its back, so to speak, or its front, as the engine is facing forward. So it's up, it's the other way around. So quite simply done, just tip it straight all the way up, and it sits back like so. And that way we can get round to having a look at this disc and to fit 3 out of the 4 blades. But I want to show you how they fit anyway, and then we go from there. Okay, very simple these are. All you got to do is put the blade on, and the blade will go with the proud side up against the body. You then put the washer on the back, and that little tiny blade will sit on that bolt collar like so. You see, so it sits flush on that collar, and then that then goes through onto the blade assembly with the washer on the other side, and then the bolt. Now notice on this one they put the washers on this side, and that's why the blades didn't spin. So that goes on, then the washer goes on the back of it, and then the bolt of the nut goes on the back of that. You do them up, and they don't have to be colossally tight. Remember, these blades need to spin. If you put them on too tight and with the washer on the wrong side, that way the blade will stick. So they do up. They are a nylon locking washer, a locking bolt, but that's roughly how the blade wants to go on. Obviously tighter than that, but they all want to be so they hang down. Let me loosely fit them and I'll show you how tight they need to be. Okay, so I've got 1 spare blade, obviously it needs to be fitted. I've got 1 spare nut and 1 spare washer, so I'm waiting for the bolt to turn up before I can fit that one. But these ones, all you got to do is get I think they're 13mm. Let me double check the nut size. I think they're about a 13. They might be slightly bigger. They are bigger. Let's try a 14. So all you need to do is get a socket big enough to fit that. Okay, so I've got 3 out of the 4 blades fitted. I can't fit the 4th one because I'm waiting for the bolt to turn up, which they didn't send me. So the spare blade, nut and washer can go in that little bag, and I can fit that when it turns up. You want a 14mm spanner to go on the back, and you want a 22mm socket to go on the front. And all you're going to do, literally, is put the 14mm on the back of the nut, which goes on like so. Grab your socket, and like I say, if you do them up too tight, like I have there, then they're not going to spin. So make sure that blade is round that way, and don't forget these are locking nuts. So I don't have to be on that tight. So just keep nicking it up until you feel it's adequate. That should be about there, I'd say. And because they're a locking nut, they won't come off. Neither will my 14mm spanner. Right, I've got that off. And that's the blade there. So that blade, as you can see, it's on tight. That ain't going nowhere, okay? But the blade itself will actually, if you imagine when you fire it up and it starts to spin, that's where the blade's going to sit, okay? If you cut on the grass. But you hit a stump or anything like that, and that blade will just swing around. Okay, and that's how it all needs to be fitted. So when you let go of it, they should all drop like so. Let me just do the other three up, the other two up, and I'll come back. Okay, so that's 3 out of the 4 fitted. As you can see, these are loose. Okay, so as you rotate the blade, as the blade rotates round, that's the sort of thing, like a big wheel at a circus. Okay, the blade is slightly battered. This dish is slightly battered, so it's not a perfect spin. You could put some grease behind there. I'll give it a little shot of the old WD-40 stuff, but don't forget you're going to have all sorts of stuff behind here, grass and what have you eventually, so it's not the end of the world. But eventually they should all spin, so if you hit a stump, then you're not going to damage the engine. That's the idea of it. The idea is just the blade spins around. So that's that bit done. Okay, so that's how you fit the blades. Next thing I want to do is fit these handles, which have been painted up and what have you. So they're going to fit on to the handle like this, and then this cover will then fit over the top and be bolted down. All you've got to do is just make sure that you've got it symmetrical when you put it on. So I'm just going to loosely fit the bolts first, show you how that all goes together, and then I'll come back once I've got the bolts loosely fitted. Right, the bolts now loosely fitted. Now there's 2 different size bolts. There's a slightly longer one and a slightly shorter one. The short one goes on the top and the long one goes on the bottom. And all you do is you're just making sure that the handles are roughly in the centre, which is where I've got them, I think. And because they're seated bolts, you can just do these up. Just start them up. Don't go too tight to begin with, because you want to adjust this handle for your own height. What I do is I've got to paint these up as well yet once I've finished. There's a bit of touching up to do here, there and everywhere. So these ones here you can do up on the bottom 2 relatively tight. Let's just nick that one up. Now you can put the bolts on the other side if you like. It depends, where you want the bolts to face, because you can put the bolts in either way. It's sort of irrelevant. And once they're done up tight, you can then pull the handle up to the desired height that you are, and then nick these ones up as well. And eventually it'll hold it in its own position. Now I'm not going to do it up too tight, because I need to still adjust it for my height and or the person, if I am able to sell it, to their height as well. But I'm just going to nick them up just so it's in place, and then those bolts will then be painted so it finishes off. But that's how the height adjustment works on the handle as well. So that's cool. The next thing I've got to do is simply got 2 Phillips screws or screw head bolts, and that's got the top of the handle just to fit the throttle control, which is there, and that literally just wants a bit of a clean. That just goes through there and screws directly into the handle of the handle. I'll get them screwed in and I'll come back once I've done that. Right, with that now done, I've got a bit of oil coming out of this air filter, this carburetor, where I've had it tipped up. I've took all the oil out, but it's just a little bit of residue left, so I want to take the air filter off, because it's got a new air filter on it, and I don't want to cover it full of oil. Right, so with that done, we can now bring this throttle control, and that's going to sit in this little tiny flap here, and that's what actually controls your choke. Okay, It then comes down and it then sits onto this little tiny position here with this little tiny screw that I've kept by. That goes on. Sorry for hands being in the way, let me just back you up a touch just so you can see what's going on. Let's try that there. And just loosely fit that, just so you've got a bit of free play in the cable. Okay. Now what you want to do, you want to set this to choke, which is all the way back on the control, and then set it to choke on the carburetor, which is going to be about there, and then do that up. So now you're choking on the throttle up the top, the carburetor is choked, you do that up, and now when you take it off a choke, the little flap should open, which it does, and when you fully choke it, it's just catching. It wants to go about there. This is a problem it had before, wasn't it? It's trying to choke, but it's not. So I think what I did, I pushed it all the way a bit more forward. So let's give it a bit more on that cable. It's actually catching on this here. That's what it's catching on, that little flap. Let me bring that past that if I can. That's where it's catching. See that? That's it. Let's put it about there. Let's set it to choke again, which is now choking. Let's do that back up. So now the flap is closed on the carburetor. It's now set to choke here. It's set to choke up the top, and now when I bring it back, the choke is wide open. Push it all the way forward, and that's now choking lovely. Okay, so that's fantastic. That's just where we want it. I'll put a bit more WD-40 spray on there as well, just to help it along. It wants to go just a touch more if I can get it. That's it. You hear it clicking?
I hear it.
So that's it. So that's working where it should be. So very happy with that. And just so you can see that that's actually choking now, it's actually set to idle at the moment. As you can see, that flap is, the brass flap is now open, which is full throttle. And when I bring it to choke, you can see now the carburetor is choking. It's still not quite choking as far as I would like. It's just got that click, but I think it is down to its age. But I think with more use, it will choke, but I'm guaranteed that will start the machine. So happy with that. Right, what's next is to take the spark plug out, because that spark plug is old. And I don't want to sell it with an old spark plug in it. Let's take that out. What have we got in there? Yeah, we've got an old, it's an old Champion spark plug, but I'm going to put a new gapped B2LM in, which I had delivered just the other day. Let me do that up. Now this is probably going to smoke a bit before I fire it up. That goes on. I'm going to fill up the oil, and I'm going to put the air cover back on, and I won't start it until I've finished doing that, because I want you guys to see it fire up for the first time again since it last fired. Right, I have just put the Blade Boss bolt on as well. That was in the tray, I forgot that. I'm only left with one washer in the spares tray. So I'm putting the brand new air filter back in. It's had the oil, that's now filled. I've just got to do one blade when that comes in. HT back on. And I've got some little jobs to do left on it, which is it's not quite finished yet. The Hayterette sign here, I want to actually do in silver. I'll get some silver paint and just a brush, just brush that on, and then just touching up on some bolts and some bits and pieces that need doing here, there and everywhere. So I've got a few little bits to do, but nothing that is now stopping me from at least starting this engine. Just bear in mind it is missing one blade, but it's not the end of the world. So I think we can now take this mower outside, try and start it, and see if she'll start back up, and what have you. Got to put some petrol into the petrol. The tank is empty. Yes, it is. So I put the petrol in when I get outside, and we'll go for a run up and we'll see how she goes. Just to let you know, it is excessively windy outside, and my microphone I cannot find. So please put up with the wind for now. I'm going to be running just for 2 or 3 seconds just to see if it runs and what have you. So it is windy. Right, I've got my microphone, so I'm hoping the wind won't be an issue. Let's put a bit of fuel in the old girl. See how we get on.
Daddy.
Hang on, mate.
Girl.
Yeah, it's very windy out here today.
A girl.
Lawnmower's an old girl.
A girl.
I'm not going to put too much in it because I want to make sure I've got no fuel leaks. And just in case I can't turn it off for some reason, I want to make sure it doesn't run for too long. Let's just put a bit more in there. Because that's all gone. That should be enough. Now I know the carburetor's full up anyway. All that fuel disappeared. Right, let's go for a run. Stand clear, Riley boy.
Why,
Let's see how we get on.
Yeah, let's do it.
Just want to make sure that is actually choking. 2 seconds. Because it's not even firing up at the moment. I've still got the same choke problem at the minute. So I need to work on that choke issue. It can only be a spring adjustment up the top, so no biggie. Super job. It does want a throttle adjustment, and it's shaking like hell because it's missing one of the blades. So that I know anyway.
It's working?
Yeah, it works, mate. Yeah.
Oh, what's that?
So it is very violent shaking. It's nearly there. It is going. Just wants to touch. Let's go one more time.
Yeah. Daddy?
Yeah.
Can we charge off?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we're nearly out of battery, mate. Yeah, I see that. Good to go. So as I say, it is shaking, but it is missing one of the blades, so it's off balance. And until I get that sorted out, it won't run properly anyway. So anyway, at least she runs. That's the main thing. Okay, that's the old. Oh, try babe. Cheers. That's the old Hayter Hayterette. Well over 3/4 done. I've just got to revisit it. I've got to put the new blade on it when it comes, so it is vibrating like anything, and just with that one blade missing will make all the difference. So that's got to be done. I've got to do a bit of touching up here and there. I want to cover the Hayterette name in silver, just with something like a silver amorite, just with a small brush, just to lift it up. So all's done, air filter's done, spark plug's done, complete paint job, stripped down, tidied up, finished and what have you. So I'm super happy with it. Once it runs a bit better off that throttle control, I think it is the linkage up the top. It may be worn out. I may have to replace it. I do have a spare quantum engine in, so I can replace that. It just wants a bit of fine tuning. That's all it is. For some reason, it's just not quite choking as it should. But I had that problem initially. But since I stripped it, I've sprayed it all up. So there might be some paint in there that needs taking off and cleaning back up. So that's what it is. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me and my little Riley boy on this episode of Micks Mowers. Don't forget, if this is your first time in watching the Micks Mowers YouTube channel, don't forget down the bottom corner, just down here, is my subscribe button and the old bell notification. Give it a nice big whack and set your notifications to all, ding, and that will tell you that I've released another video, or in fact I'm on my weekly live stream, and you can come up on the panel and join me and have a chat. So I look forward to that. Next on the bench is going to be the Massport engine lawnmower I had come in. It's a push mower. I got it for free, and I want that one on the bench next. And then we'll move on to the Hayter. Thank you very much, David, for my my 5 litres of WD-40 spray. I do use it a lot, so that come off my wish list. The wish list is down in the comments section or in my about section. You'll find it there. So I am super pleased. One quick sip of the old coffee because I've got to do my live stream at some point this week and get that done. Other bits I've had in, I've got a Honda lawnmower just come in, which again was for free. Funnily enough, it's a lawnmower I worked on this season. It came in as a non-running lawnmower, which I fixed. It went back out, but however, since then it's packed up. I think he said the pull cord spring's gone, I think is what he said. However, that's come back, and so I can have it. So I've got that back. That's a Honda HR123 or something like that. I'm not quite sure off the top of my head. I've also picked up another little Briggs classic. No, it's not. That's another Honda GV100. I've got that in as well to look at. That was free, and I've also picked up a 4-cycle 4-stroke Ryobi strimmer, which also came with a bag of bits. It came with a brand new bag of Chinese complete carburetor kit, and it also came with a brand spanking new Chinese carburetor with it as well. So I've got the 4-stroke strimmer with the spare bits, hopefully to fix it. So he's had a bit of a tinker with it. He did say he has. So but being 4-stroke, they do tend to fetch a little bit more money than them 2-strokers. So hopefully it'll run. So looking forward to that. Anyway, don't forget to give us the old thumbs up, that's very important, and to whack the old bell, hit the old subscribe button, and more importantly, leave any comments down below, positive or negative, help me out, you know, give me some advice or tell me where I'm going wrong or anything like that. I don't really mind. I always comment to all of my comments, and I like to have a chat with all you guys. So thank you very much for watching this episode of Micks Mowers. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it informative. But until next time, people, don't forget, take her easy.
Hey-ha!